Today I want to touch on a topic that many people wonder about. And the main question is, do you need music theory to write great music? Yes or no? There certainly goes a lot of discussion behind this question, and dare I say, even heated discussion. I personally don't believe that it's all that black and white, but I'm sure that you'll find plenty of supporters on both sides. Before I start, I do want to recognize that I think that each genre has its own demands for when it comes to knowing music theory. What I mean by that is that I think that genres such as jazz or orchestral music, they demand a different theory knowledge from the get-go compared to, for example, singer-songwriter or pop or certain rock styles. And this is not meant to put any genre down, but it just simply is that certain styles require more knowledge of music theory from the beginning than others. And by the way, what do you think? Has music theory ever been useful for you when writing music? Share it with us in the comments. So why would you not learn music theory? Some reasons that I've heard before are: it blocks your creativity, it makes you write generic music, and you don't want to follow and limit yourself to a fixed set of rules. You want to discover something new, your own style. Even though I personally always have been very interested in music theory, I do understand the logic and the thought process behind each reason. For example, I do believe that you'll get very boring music if you literally follow certain music theory rules and if you don't put in any of your own imagination. But then again, this could also happen without knowing music theory. Because when writing music, it's impossible to ignore and just forget about all the music that has been written before you. And don't forget that each genre of music has their own rules. If you actively know them or not, they are certainly there, I guarantee you. So most likely you will be influenced by them if you like it or not. Do you need to know music theory to be able to write music? If I look at my own working and learning process, I definitely think that there are some benefits to it. I find that very often music theory actually inspires me. When I read about a certain concept, I want to try it out, and also I want to see if I can make it into something that sounds like me. One of the main things that I find useful about knowing music theory is that it can be a gigantic time saver. I'm talking about noodling on your instrument. And don't get me wrong, I'm 100% pro noodling on your instrument. I've come up with many nice ideas by just noodling around on my instrument, the piano or the guitar. But this way of working definitely also has its downside. You can really end up wasting a lot of time if you're noodling around without any clear roadmap, or without knowing what you're going to be doing, or without knowing what you're looking for. So what if you could refine this noodling process within some boundaries that you find interesting? Let's say a certain mode, a scale or a progression. And the great thing about knowing music theory is that you have a lot of these frameworks to choose from. You can even make your own, or you can combine different frameworks. An endless source of inspiration. And music theory can also save a lot of effort, energy and frustration. Here's an example. Let's say you want to write something moody and dark. Then by knowing some music theory concepts, you can already exclude certain techniques that probably won't work out anyway. In this case, for example, it will be very unlikely that you start writing something in a major tonality. Or what if you have a client that wants something with a very strong and surprising rhythm? You probably already know that your regular 4/4 or 6/8 time signature is just not gonna cut it. So maybe in this case you need to look into some irregular time signatures, or you need to look for something which is very syncopated and upbeat and with some nice surprises.
Surprise, motherfucker!
No matter the situation, but I think that knowing some music theory will definitely give you the ability to search with more precision for what you need, and thus waste less time. And another benefit is that when regular inspiration runs dry, you can always read some books, you can always check some new videos to see if you can find any theory topics that catch your eye and sound interesting. And this way you can get your creative juices flowing again. I think that if you know some music theory, you'll also be able to recognize patterns in music more easily. More importantly, I think you'll be able to distinguish things in music that are actually innovative and new, and things that are not. I remember in the beginning when I wrote a song and I was absolutely in love with it, and I thought that I did some really tricky things. And then when I played it to a friend, he told me, well, you know, it sounds good, but actually it's not that unique because you're just using this chord in first inversion, and that's it. I thought it was very unique, but actually it was really far from being unique. What I take from this is that knowing music theory gives you the ability to have a more critical view on your own work, but also other people's work. And a last thing, knowing music theory can improve your communication in music. I believe that it allows you to explain yourself more accurately in music and about your music, about what you're hearing, about what you're writing, about what your intentions are. But of course, please don't let music theory be the judge of your music. Because however simple or complicated your music is, if you manage to make it sound good, it is good, with or without music theory knowledge. So never judge the music only by its theory, because I think if you do, you end up writing very boring and unimaginative music. Just remember, the music always came first. Composers and musicians in the past, they thought of new ways of expressing themselves, and they started using new techniques. Afterwards, theorists, they saw this kind of phenomena happening in the music, and they made up a theory of how to explain what was actually already happening in the music. So I definitely believe that theory follows music, and not music following theory. And in the description I've put some music theory books and music books that I find very inspiring and useful. If you want to learn more about interesting and useful musical concepts, then check out this playlist. And if you want to learn more about the beautiful world of the musical modes, then be sure to check out this playlist. Have a good time, stay inspired, and for now, see you next time.